Please like, share and subscribe.
Mga kababayan, I've been a resident of Indonesia for 40 years, running this year 2024. I'm a personal witness on how Indonesia grew over the years in all aspects, economically, politically, socially, culturally, and more.
The Philippines has been very visibly and obviously hobbled and hindered by the flawed 1987 Constitution from achieving the economic and societal success that we so desperately need, because some of the systems that we adopted were incorrect and have been proven to be incompatible with the kind of success that the Philippines deserves. By embedding numerous anti-foreign direct investment restrictions in the Constitution, such as 60-40 and 70-30 equity sharing agreements, favoring local investors and keeping international investment participation low, or outright bans, there is hardly any wiggle room or flexibility, as these restrictions cannot be changed when the global economic situation changes. Most importantly, the Philippines ends up at the losing end when side-by-side comparisons are made, such as when comparing the Philippine Constitution against the Vietnamese Constitution or against the constitutions of other countries within the ASEAN region. And it is not difficult to see why. The Philippines is the only country in the region with such explicit numerical restrictions against foreign direct investments, while other countries have no such restrictions written in their constitutions. While other countries certainly do have restrictions regarding the entry of foreign direct investments or any regulations, they are often not as restrictive and oftentimes not even requiring that the foreign investor have a merely minority ownership share. And more importantly, they are written purely in statutory legislation, which can be easily amended or repealed when called for or when economic conditions change.
With respect to the source speaker during the Senate hearing on economic constitutional change, he said that only in the Philippines that economic restrictions to foreign investments are explicit in the Constitution. I would like to share with you what is the Constitution of Indonesia with respect to economic provisions. This is spelled out in Chapter 14, Article 33 of its Constitution, and provides: Number 1. The economy shall be structured based on the principle of kinship. Number 2. Areas of production which are important to the state and which control the lives of many people shall be controlled by the state. Number 3. The land and water and the natural resources contained therein shall be under the control of the state and shall be used for the greatest prosperity of the people. Number 4. The national economy shall be organized on the basis of economic democracy with the principles of togetherness, equitable efficiency, sustainability, environmental soundness, independence, and by maintaining a balance of progress and national economic unity. Number 5. Further provisions concerning the implementation of this article shall be regulated by law. Mga kababayan, if you can see, the economic provisions of the Indonesian Constitution is a catch-all provision. It does not specify like foreign investments must have a restriction of 49% ownership. It does not provide restrictions, but there's a provision saying that further provisions concerning the implementation of this article shall be regulated by law. If you can see, the foreign investment law of Indonesia is the one that articulates the specific provisions and restrictions. Under the foreign investment law, there is a category or sector of the industry which there is a limitation to foreigners. There are reserved for small medium enterprises. There are sectors of national security concerns which is reserved for the state. So in a way, it is by law that specifies the specific limitations or non-limitations of foreign investments in Indonesia. It is not embedded, it is not explicit, in the Constitution of Indonesia. So it gives them the flexibility to create their negative list from time to time as the demand or as the condition changes. Yun po mga kababayan ang pinaka-essence ng provision with respect to the economy or respect to the economic provisions of the Constitution of Indonesia. To our leaders in government, since constitutional change is on the agenda of the Philippine legislature, I strongly recommend to study, to learn, made reference to the Constitution of Indonesia, Malaysia, and Singapore. I personally believe that this will provide more insights and learnings for the Philippines. Another reference could be Vietnam. I also suggest that the Philippine leaders tap the overseas Filipinos in these countries who have the knowledge and passion to contribute to the Philippines in whatever way possible. During the course of my work in Southeast Asia, I met a number of long-time resident Filipinos in these countries that I mentioned. These long-time resident Filipinos in Indonesia, Malaysia, Singapore, and Vietnam, I believe would be most willing to help the country in any way they can, be it a researcher, a translator, a resource speaker, on any relevant task within their area of competence. Mga kababayan, hanggang susunod naming pagbabahagi, maraming salamat po.